Gott mir geben, passt es mir doch gar nicht an.
Dear Diary, I often wonder what it would be like to destroy myself. For instance, would I dare to burn myself alive? Would I ever stab myself to death? Or would I place my hands around my neck and squeeze with all my might? Tales of self-destruction can make a very lovely diary entry. You see, my darling diary, I have done something 1,000 times worse. I had a most unusual encounter with the devil himself. And while I appear to be back to normal, something is not quite right. And I think I left some of my sanity along the line somewhere. Let me start from the beginning, so you can understand what I am saying. During my days in Siberian prison, there was a magic box in my cell. There was something special about this box. In a strange way, it would keep me company, and on many nights when the temperature was 50 degrees below freezing, I would hold the box against my heart and feel an overwhelming sensation of warmth. Even when I escaped from prison, I took the magic box with me. I placed it in my cave, and on special occasions I would bask in its presence and stare at it. Many years passed, and I began to wonder what would happen if I dared to open it. Surely the world would not end. And so I eagerly opened it. At first I saw nothing, but then suddenly there was a loud burst of thunder followed by lightning, and a mysterious figure flew out of the box. It grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually appeared before me with 2 horns on its forehead. This was the devil himself, standing before me in all his glory. "It's good to see you, Anastasia," it said in a deep voice. "Come to my playground. Let us play." The devil beckoned. A game with the devil? What a privilege, I thought. We soon arrived at a strange playground with all sorts of game stalls. "Let us gamble," said the devil. "Oh, but I don't have any assets," I said. "Why don't you gamble your organs? Each time you lose, you give me your organ," suggested the devil. "But how can I survive?" I asked. "Take this pill," the devil replied. "It will help you get by temporarily without your organs. Let the games begin." The first game was basic. I was given various blocks of assorted shapes and sizes, and I had to fit it into the different holes. What appeared to be very easy suddenly became very hard. The triangle piece could not fit into the triangle hole. Maybe this is not a triangle. Maybe it is a circle. I started to lose my ability to think. How could that be? I glanced over at the devil. He emitted a strange kind of radiation that left me mesmerized and immersed in his majestic presence. I soon had no feeling in my hand and dropped all my pieces. "Ha ha ha, I won!" the devil gleefully exclaimed. He had managed to fit all the pieces precisely into all the holes. I was very disappointed with myself and could not understand how I was so incapable of playing such a basic, simple game that even a baboon could easily play. "Now you owe me an organ. Give me your heart," the devil demanded, and promptly pulled my heart out from me. I know what you are thinking, my darling diary. I too had no idea how he did it. But a devil is about as powerful as God, and if God has the power to heal, then surely the devil has the ability to destroy, and can easily pull my organs out without the need for a scalpel. On to the second game, exclaimed the devil. We were now playing poker. I tried to concentrate on my cards, but several things were distracting me. One was a fly that kept circling the devil's head. The devil would then make strange, bizarre facial expressions which kind of disturbed me, and then I would completely lose my train of thought. Other times it would eerily pierce me with a penetrating stare. This would make me very lightheaded, and I became incapable of coherent thoughts. I knew how to play cards, but soon I began to get confused. The Jack of Diamonds started to look like the Queen of Hearts. The clubs looked like the spades. The king looked like a joker. Ha ha ha! I have beaten you again, Anastasia, the devil proclaimed. Look, all aces, he proudly declared. And so the games continued. No matter which card was dealt to me, it was always a bad card. Winning was impossible. After several rounds of this game, I had already lost 2 kidneys, a liver, a lung, a pancreas, and a vein on my leg. The devil was grinning continuously. At this point, I was severely weakened, dejected, and gasping for breath. I had to take a break from the games and soon fell asleep in a muddy trench nearby. I was abruptly awakened by loud chanting. I looked up into the distance only to see the devil standing on an elevated platform. Beneath him were thousands of followers. I, Anastasia, stood in the distance and watched this sinister spectacle. The devil started preaching. His sermon was very loud and powerful. With the motion of his fist, the devil made a lake appear right in the middle of the playground. Thou shalt be baptized, howled the devil, like a maniac that had just been released from an asylum. He then proceeded to dunk all his followers into the lake. But the strange thing about this was that none of the followers came up for air. In fact, none of the followers came up at all. For each follower the devil would dunk, a bright light would appear. It was then that I realized that the devil was taking the soul of his followers. The devil soon spotted me and beckoned me to come forward. I was terrified. There was no way in hell I was going to let the devil take my soul. Overcome by sheer panic, I started running blindly in the opposite direction. I must have been very exhausted, for all I remember was collapsing on a bed of leaves that night. I awoke a few hours later, in cold sweat, feeling very empty inside. You see, the devil had almost all my organs, and I could not leave the playground unless I won it all back. I needed to play at least one more game. I went back to the playground and saw a very steep cliff. It looked impossible to climb, for the rocks were slippery, and one can easily plummet towards death. Suddenly, the devil emerged. This time, his face was filled with anger, and I suspect it was because I ran away from the baptism. "Get out of the playground!" growled the devil. The anger in his voice terrified me, but I managed to remain calm. "I can't leave. You've got all my organs," I weakly mumbled. "It's not my fault you lost," shouted the devil. "Oh, but let's play another game. Whoever climbs that steep cliff wins it all. Double or nothing," I begged. "Don't you dare! It's too risky and dangerous," growled the devil as he stared at the steep cliff. "Oh, but I'm not afraid. I just want to win my organs back. I've got nothing to lose," I pleaded. "Okay, but this is the last game. After that, get out of my playground," said the devil in a cold, brutal tone. I started to climb the cliff. My whole body was trembling. I was weak and exhausted, but mustered every last bit of energy to climb the cliff. I was determined to win this difficult game. I kept losing my grip on the rocks, and my nimble body would precariously dangle at the edge of the cliff. After many death-defying moments, I finally made it to the top. To my astonishment, the devil was already there. His back was turned and he was sitting next to the ugly fly that was distracting me earlier in the poker game. Doesn't she realize that all the games were rigged? Laughed the fly. She did not notice that the triangle pieces were bigger than the holes it was supposed to fit. Gloated the devil. And let us not forget how easy it was to play poker, squealed the fly. Yes, you told me each hand she had, chuckled the devil. I love you for that. He then promptly kissed the fly. I was overwhelmed by jealousy and disgust, but I also was puzzled that a powerful devil would seek the companionship of a putrid, ugly fly. At this point, I was completely enraged. You tricked me, I yelled. The devil turned around and sternly replied, What do you expect, Anastasia? I am the devil. I am pure evil. Of course I will cheat. After all, I've got a reputation to live up to. I tried to appear calm, but the callousness of his tone was tearing me inside. It makes sense how you cheated on those games. But how did you cheat your way to the top of the cliff so fast? The rocks are too slippery and too fragile to take your weight, I said. Oh, that is because I walked on air. The devil laughed hysterically. Suddenly, the devil did not seem that majestic before me. He began to look more like a mad buffoon. I need my organs back, I meekly whispered. It is in the black bag over there, the devil said. I opened the bag only to see hundreds of organ parts, none of which belonged to me. Apparently I was not the only victim. I was one of many. Oops, chuckled the devil. It looks like you are reading my resume. Try the blue bag instead. Feeling very insignificant and dejected, I located all my organs, and soon it was placed back into my body by the devil's magic. But I still won the game, I shouted. I beat you. You cheated. I won. The devil burst into laughter. Anastasia, darling, chuckled the devil. Your victory means nothing to me. It is a victory that will never last. Those were the devil's last words, for he vanished into thin air. Up to this day, I am 100% confident that I beat the devil. But I still have trouble with my organs. When I think of the devil, my heart beats a little too fast. My lungs have trouble holding air, and I start gasping for breath. My liver and pancreas start malfunctioning, and my stomach begins to turn and hurt. My vein in my leg then starts to throb, and my limbs go numb. You see, even though the devil returned my organs, something is not quite the same. He has put his evil mark on my organs, so it can never work the same way again. For now it only tortures me. But one day, my organs will stop working altogether, and then I will be free. And even if it means that I am dead, that is all right. For I know I'll be sent to hell, but at least I could see the devil again, and finally beat him at his own evil game. I, Anastasia, will chase the devil out of hell.
Draußen in die Seiten reiß ich, weiß nicht, wo ich abends ruh. Manche Schöne macht wohl Augen, meinet, ich gefiel ihr sehr, wenn ich nur was wollte taugen, so ein armer Lump nicht wär.